So you don't typically think that this happens to like the uber wealthy or even wealthy people with lifestyle inflation because they're already living a great life. I think when people have second homes, the interesting conversation I have is when they're at one house, they're worried about the other house. Either they're not using it enough, so that's a concern for them, or something goes wrong in the other house.
I think if you use it a lot, it's different. It's like dependent on the income sources you have, portfolio you have. If it's a small percent, who gives a fluff?
Yeah.
But it's when it's too high of a percent. We do it when I know we can sustain it and it's not going to take away from your assets. If one of your goals is to have financial freedom and you're not meeting your targets, and again, income came up, you need to.
If you've got a high income and a high net worth, you can still make mistakes. We're going to take you through some of the mistakes that some of the high-end financial advisors around the country see in their rich clients and rich income clients, and we're going to tell you how to avoid them. Welcome back to another episode of Playbook of the Wealthy. My name is Dave Grant. My co-host is Heather Townsend. If you've not been here before, we split our podcast into a number of sections. We dive into content, then we answer some questions, and then we talk about ourselves professionally and personally. We're talking about rich people today, like we always do, and we're talking about the mistakes that they make so that you don't have to make them.
Can I give a little context of where this came from?
You can.
So we all know I'm a nerd. I think that's pretty clear now. And I don't read fiction. I read finance or business books all the time. So I came across this article that was pooled of many family offices. For listeners, family offices are for like the uber wealthy. They have to hire staff to manage their money. They have so much money. And just all advisors across the country that deal with really ultra high net worth individuals, and came up with the list of all the 4 top mistakes that they make. And I read it and I was like, and I was like, podcast episode we need to share, because they did it in such a great way, and it's not just us talking about it, it's what all advisors across the country see. So I'm looking forward to sharing so that our listeners don't make these mistakes.
All right, so without further ado, let's dive in. So, number 1. This actually was a little surprising, but then I thought about it. I was like, oh, yep. Okay.
Overload on personal real estate. Now, note they say personal. They're not saying investment real estate. They're saying personal real estate.
Gotcha.
A lot of this comes down to second homes, and I do have experience with this. You might too. Second homes can become a real big suck on cash flow because you're maintaining 2 houses. I have a house. You have a house. The house projects never stop. Do they ever stop? I've never heard anyone, all sizes up and down of houses, that they're like, oh yeah, the house projects have stopped. The house has stopped costing me money. No, that doesn't exist. So now you have 2 of them, sometimes more, right? They're liabilities on a net worth statement.
How are they a liability? Because sometimes people are like, no, it's not. It's an asset for me.
Because sometimes the costs outweigh what the gain is. I mean, if you think about it, and I think that now with the the technology we have, there's going to be a lot more data on this. But people, when you go sell a house, I think people are always just like, oh, I made 100, I made $1 million, whatever. And they just take what they bought it for and what they sold it for. It's not that simple. That's simple when you're buying a stock.
Sure.
Stocks don't have maintenance costs. They don't have property taxes. They don't have home insurance. They don't have normally mortgages that you're paying mortgage interest. They don't have HOA dues. They don't have repairs. They don't have utilities either.
Yeah.
They don't have house cleaners. I mean, I have a house. They don't have a pool person. They don't have a landscaper. I mean, do you want me to keep...
No, don't keep going.
Okay, but you get the idea, right? So houses are expensive. They can be a good investment, but if you're not using it, it's a liability.
I think when people have second homes, the interesting conversation I have is when they're at one house, they're worried about the other house. Either they're not using it enough, so that's a concern for them, or something goes wrong in the other house, and then they have to figure out how to try and fix it. And this is a snowbird situation. But then when they eventually end up in the other house, they're now worried about the house that they just left. Like, and it's that, okay, is this worth it?
I just came up with a really funny term. Arizona's the opposite. We heat bird. Does that work? Like snowbird, heat bird? We bird out because of the heat, right? So I actually have this story. One of my clients, we're renting right now. She's probably going to buy a second home in the Midwest in the summer because her family's there.
Yeah.
And so we've been renting every summer in that other state to get her out. When the first time that she did this, she came back and she's like, I don't know if I want to do this second home because her hot water heater burst while she was gone.
Oh. Flooded
the garage, flooded everything, and she's away.
Yeah.
And then, they overcharged her for the hot water heater. The install went wrong. It was like a whole thing. And she's like, this sucks. Now I think we've put people in place for her so that while she's gone, when she heat birds, there's people that can check on the house and all of that. But it is true. And I've also heard from people once they buy the second homes, I think it depends, like a lake house that you use with your family and all of that. That's a very different situation.
I think snowbird's a different situation there.
Snowbird or a lake house. I think if you use it a lot, it's different. But one of the reasons I'm like teetering on, do I really want a second home in Park City because I go all the time, besides the costs and everything? Even if the numbers made sense, I'm like, is that going to change how I feel? Because now it's a house that I'm responsible for.
Yeah.
So it kind of takes the vacation feeling away.
It does. This is another worry you have.
Yes.
I do have clients that it works for, though, but their houses are small. So this is not a financial burden for them.
Exactly. Well, that's a different situation.
So if they have a house I have one client who has a house in Illinois, and she also has a cabin up in, the Northwoods of Wisconsin. She's there a lot, summer, winter, all the time.
That's fantastic.
And so she goes back and forth. So then for that situation, that's part of her retirement plan. It really works for them. But then if you've got two big houses, they're across the country, they're both liabilities, they're both sucking up time and money, this is when you're overloading, and it might not work financially. It might just start to be a drain and you're going to go down a hole.
Well, that's what I think this really matters. It's like dependent on the income sources you have and the portfolio you have. What is the percent you're spending on housing compared to those resources? That's what it comes down to. If it's a small percent, who gives a fluff? But it's when it's too high of a percent. And this is kind of like also why I haven't bought two. It's easier to rent sometimes, and then I can go somewhere new if I want to. Also, like they always think it can be sold for more than it can later on, right? I
think people in Florida are figuring that out right now. That's not the case.
Ooh, what's going on in Florida?
Oh, condos.
Oh, are they?
You can't get rid of a condo in Florida in some cities.
Because of the home insurance is so high? Yeah. If someone has a dream of a second home, I think it's fantastic and go for it. Just have the right plan. But I have seen that they are a huge suck on cash flow, and it can really take you back.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the next one. Lifestyle inflation.
Oh, geez.
So you don't typically think that this happens to like the uber wealthy or even wealthy people with lifestyle inflation because they're already living a great life. Like what is there to do and get better at? It happens everywhere because there's always a bigger and better thing. Like even if you go to the upper echelons of, okay, we're going to buy a yacht. How big's that yacht? Someone got a bigger yacht? Do you want the bigger one? Do you have a helipad on your yacht? You don't? I'm sorry.
Oh, got to get the helipad.
So it happens everywhere. It's not just people, living their regular lives. But I think where this comes in is when you think that you're justified to level up your life.
But you can't afford it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I deserve this because I had a great year at work, or our portfolio really grew. So we deserve to get this extra thing and this, hire this extra person.
Yeah.
Whatever it's going to be to make life better. Because the damaging part in doing that is that now becomes your floor. Oh, we flew first class to go on vacation there. Now, every vacation we go on, we have to fly first class.
Yeah, you can't. It's hard to go back.
It's really hard.
It's really hard to go back.
And then your portfolio takes a dip in a year and you're like, I'm still flying first class. And that's when it starts to chip away at things and you start to get poorer because you won't give up that new lifestyle.
So in the article, they gave like adding staff. Yep. Vehicles. Yep. Club memberships. Yep. More vacations. Yep. Or what happens is they do all of those.
Right.
And then they can't go back.
And I think that's the key part. You can never reset that. You can always reset the floor, but to reset that floor will feel like you're getting poorer. And no one wants to do that. It's also that way of looking to other people. Yes, we had the Mercedes, but we had to downgrade to the Toyota. No one cares except you because they're worried about themselves. But to you, that is seen as a huge downgrade and we're failing at life.
This is something I talk to my clients about a lot when they really, really want to do something, buy that bigger house, buy the second home. I put it to them in this way, and hopefully this helps you think about it in a better way, is that I'm like, I want you to have it and be able to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a no. If my clients want a private chef every day, I'm like, great, let's figure it out.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure we do it when I know we can sustain it and it's not going to take away from your assets.
Right.
That's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
All right. So lifestyle, inflation, no shock there. All right. Oh, we talked about this. And I do see this with my clients. Overload to illiquid investments. And when I'm saying illiquid, those are those private real estate funds, private equity, hedge funds. Am I missing any?
No, we went into this on episode 59. We dove into these illiquid investments. I don't see poor people getting sold illiquid investments.
Well, you have to be an accredited investor, which is changing,
Exactly.
like the thing, but you have to have money to get into these. It's like right now, I think the laws changed, but it was, you had to have a net worth of $1 million outside of your primary residence. And I think it's, if you're single, you have to make 200,000 and joint 300. It's, don't quote me exactly,
Sure.
but it's something like that, right? So these aren't for people that are, it's not for everyone, but if you're illiquid, and then let's say you have $10 million and you have $5 million in private real estate funds, some private equity, which has a 1 in 10 chance of a company taking off. And then you have $5 million liquid, but you have 2 $5 million houses outside of this that you're maintaining. What happens? Like, that's a big drain.
Sure.
Like, I could see how this happens. Like, and then you need to get out of the illiquid portfolio, but the market is tanking and you can't sell your stocks, or you're having to sell your stocks. I can see how these have happened and why these advisors wrote this, because I'm like, yep, you've increased your lifestyle. You're not liquid. Yeah.
Because I think it isn't a problem for your everyday investor. Take that for whatever you think it means. But once you get to that part where you look great to these people that sell these investments, and they spin you a great tale.
It strokes your ego for sure. And you're like, ooh,
that's it. Like, I'm part of this club now. I'm the illiquid
I'm part of the
investment
club. Yeah.
Now you think, okay, I need to buy these investments and I have to have it. And it's almost like lifestyle creep. If I don't do these anymore, now I'm not part of that club anymore. And I can't talk about it to my rich friends that I did all these fancy investments. That's okay. You don't need to do these investments. And you probably shouldn't be doing these investments because of how bad they are.
Well, and the sell windows can sometimes be only 1 to 2 times a year. In real estate, you have to wait for them to sell. And normally the window's 3 to 5 years, but I have some clients they're like, yeah, this fund isn't doing well because it's past its 5-year window. They should have been sold by now.
Yeah.
And that is the risk. Okay. So they should be outliers in your portfolio, illiquid investments, but they should not be the main portion of your portfolio.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, our final thing that people have been seeing is lack of estate and tax planning. This is a surprise when you talk about tax planning for richer people, because CPAs and bookkeepers, it's almost part of their team already. Yet, if you're not adequately looking at your tax situation frequently and with professional people, things are going to slip by. And if you're changing your investments, then it could not be appropriate anymore. And your tax situation doesn't match what your investments are. Like, this isn't working. Tax laws change. Estate laws change. If you're not keeping up to date with your documents, if you're not updating them when people pass away or family situations change, all of these things are going to mess up what you actually want in your personal situation. And it's not going to work the way you want it to.
Well, but Dave, I saw this. This is one of the reasons I opened my own practice. I was preparing tax returns at the time that you could deduct financial advisor fees back in the day, like 2016, before Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. And I mean, these clients, I was working on high net worth individuals. They were paying their financial advisors $50,000 to $100,000. And I look at the tax return, the year is closed. I'm like, why did the financial advisor and CPA not talk? Like, they just made this client pay so much more in taxes.
Yeah.
tax planning was not happening. It was tax preparation. Tax preparation, preparing the tax return versus tax planning are two very different things. And there are CPAs and bookkeepers out there. Bookkeepers shouldn't be on the tax side. They should understand it so they know, if I'm putting this in X category on the P&L, like this is going to affect taxes.
Yeah.
But the CPA, if you have someone who's not talking to you about tax planning, it can really put a drag on your portfolio. And especially if the financial advisor and CPA aren't talking, that's disaster, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunity missed.
Yeah, I don't think this is a rich person problem. I think it's an everyone problem. But once you get to the higher net worths, the dollar amounts magnify and the problems just become bigger.
I think, too, on the estate planning, it's important. We did an episode on this. I could see it going wrong, right? Where people don't update the estate documents. It ends up going to probate. It ends up going to the wrong people in the family.
Yeah.
Things change. I mean, I couldn't believe how much changed in my world in 5 years when I had to change the estate plans. And then how, tax laws change. Like right now, these estate plans that are being written with the estate exemption being what, 15 million or 16 million per person and 30 million plus joint couple. Like, okay, let's say in the next administration comes, it's very likely they might change the limit.
Yeah.
And if they do, let's say they put it down to 2 or 3 million. Well, you need new estate documents.
You do.
Right? Like that's the best example I can give. And I think not having proactive planning can blow this up.
Agreed. You want to wrap us up? Want to give us a bow?
Yes. So let's go over the 4. So you don't do this, you just pay attention to it. And I want to state that I am an empowerer with money, and I believe you should use it to make your life better. But there is also the side of doing it too much. And some of the wealthy have done it too much and they lose money. They lose their wealth. Let's not have that be you. So don't overload on personal real estate. Don't have lifestyle inflation be too quick. Keep it stable. Overexposure to illiquid investments, try to keep those to 5 to 10% of your portfolio. And be proactive with estate and tax planning. Review often. Bow.
All right, before we move on, if you can do us a favor, pause the episode. Give us a like, give us a comment, give us a subscribe, give us a follow, whichever platform you're on, and send it to someone that you think will do terribly in their fantasy football draft coming up in 2026.
What?
Yeah, 3 people are going to do something because everyone else is like, what's fantasy football? Okay, we're going on into the question segment of our podcast. It is called What Would You Do?
All right. My husband and I are thinking of buying a second home, but one that the whole family, kids, grandkids will use throughout the year. Does this still work as a prudent purchase?
Yes.
You don't know numbers? No. Okay, I'm going to go further than that.
All right, let me give some flavor to that.
Okay.
The downside to buying second houses is if nobody uses it.
Agreed.
Houses, in my opinion, are for memories. So if you were going to live in your house, raise your children, by the time they're gone, you've got all the memories there. That's fabulous. Same in this situation. If you're buying that second house and it is for all the kids, it's going to be big family celebrations, grandkids, if it's at the lake, they're going to learn to swim, whatever it may be. Then yeah. If it's going to wipe out your whole portfolio, probably not. But it doesn't sound like that this is going to happen. Like it's going to be a purchase that is going to go for family memories.
If you can afford it without taking from your assets and your income, or your assets can sustain it, this you will not regret because it will be used and it is the family memories.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it.
Question number 2. How do you gauge how much is too much when it comes to lifestyle creep?
So I think it comes into 2 parts. There's the people that aren't living off their portfolio. There's a way to tell. And there's a way to tell for people that are earning right now and building assets.
Okay.
So let's talk about, people our age building assets. If your income rose, let's say 100 or 200K, and you are still saving the same amount and you need to be saving more, lifestyle creep happened. If one of your goals is to have financial freedom and you're not meeting your targets, and again, income came up, you need to match your lifestyle creep with increasing those savings amounts to your target. That's how I would tell. So you made 100K and you only saved 20K in the entire year. That does not sound good if you made 100K more. Okay. That's like just bad disproportionately. You didn't even max out a 401k. Like something's wrong. All right. Retirees, it's pretty easy because, I mean, if you have an advisor, you can run these calculations, but you know when you're starting to push the boundaries of a portfolio.
Yeah.
Your withdrawal rate starts getting too high. Your retirement probability of success, starts being like danger, too much. You just know.
Question number 3. I always thought that estate planning documents were set it and forget it. Is that not the case?
We talked about that. No, it's not the case. Dave and I said this on the previous podcast episode, but review every 5 years, or if there is a major tax law change and either your CPA or your financial advisor, if there is something going on in the estate world, they should be alerting you.
Yeah, this is a living, breathing document. This is not something that just gets filed away and never to be seen again.
Yeah, either reviewed every 5 years or if there's a major tax law change.
All right, we're done with the questions. We are going into the personal and professional update section of our podcast. It is called Highlights. All right, I'm going to knock this one out because this seems to be like my life right now.
All right.
I have 2 days in my day. My first day goes from whatever time I want to start working until probably 3 to 3:15.
Okay.
3:15 to 9 is the time that I spend with my children in the car, wrestling, swimming, football, any sport that is that season, and there's typically 2 or 3 going on at the same time.
You're the taxi driver right now.
I am, and the cheerer, supporter, making sure every piece of gear gets in the car if we're going from one practice to the other.
You have to bring snacks too. Got to make sure they're fed, figure out the dinner dilemma, all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the busier part of my day. 9 to 3, breeze, easy. 3 to whenever, say it's 8 or 9, that's really busy. And it's a scheduling issue too, because now we're dealing with 2 children, both who can't drive yet. We're almost there. But now is Sarah and I's second part of our day, which is busy. I am looking forward to the part where it's busy and it's warm. Because when it's busy and it's cold in the winter, that sucks. When I can do it in shorts and a t-shirt, I like it.
It's funny that you say that because I think I'm in the sweet spot right now. Like the toddler years are done. There's not these screaming temper tantrums, but they're not in the major activities yet. And they don't really have homework yet.
That's nice.
I know. I'm just realizing this right now. I'm like, I need to take advantage of this right now.
Yeah. When they're in every sport under the sun and then have to do homework and they're got to be fed too. And you get emails from clients at the same time.
Oh, geez.
Oh, yeah. Get ready.
Yeah. Yeah. I do want you to know, like, you're not alone. I hear this from like my clients and friends that have kids at your age. Like they call themselves taxi drivers. They're like, it's insane.
Yeah. And it's not that I don't enjoy it. It's just a lot.
Do you sit in your car ever? I imagine that I'd be like, all right, I'm going to go sit in my car and like listen to spa music and like put the seat back and like try to meditate or something.
Well, let me give you the scheduling dilemma. You take a child to practice that's 20 minutes away. The practice is an hour. So that means I drive home. That's going to take 20 minutes. It's also going to take me 20 minutes to drive back. That means I get 20 minutes at home. Do I want to spend 20 minutes at home or do I take an hour at the practice? Do I sit in my car? None of the other parents are there. What do I do? So then it's just this weird time switch in the day as well.
I'm sitting in my car.
Get ready. It's coming.
All right. Well, let me know if you figure out this dilemma.
You buy a Tesla and it has Netflix in the car. Beautiful.
You figured it out. Does it have it on the big screen?
Yes.
Oh, dear gosh. Okay. So you have a TV in your car. There you go. So mine is an interesting one. So I was going through security on the way here. And I don't know why, but something about this woman in front of me just caught me off guard. It was so bizarre. I don't know how to explain it. And then I started figuring it out as I'm getting through the metal detector. And let's pretend their name is Sally. I go, Sally? And they look up and I was like, I was right. I never saw this woman's face. It was the bizarrest thing. So this is a former client that I adore. We actually had to stop working together because my fees were way too low in the beginning. And she was one that it just did not make sense when I raised my fees. I couldn't charge her that. I was like, this does not make sense. And I miss talking to her and I've never met her in person ever.
Oh, really?
Because we've always met on Zoom. So I've never, ever met her in person. That's why this is
How did you recognize her then?
Zoom, that's what's so crazy. That's why I'm telling you this story is you really do get a person's essence and who they are, I guess, through Zoom once you talk to them long enough about, and I mean, I know a lot about her life. She knows a lot about mine. I was like, how are your sons? Oh, he's marrying her? Oh no. Like we're sitting there like catching up and like I hugged her and it was just like, I don't know. It's just one of those moments of I really love the work I do and I do really create deep relationships with clients. And it was just really cool. And I miss her. It's just like, that's the hard part of like business decisions versus personal, the hard, that was like a hard business decision to make that I had to make. But I love her. And she's like, can I get a consult? I'll pay you. I miss you. So there's also like nice to just be like, wow, I was very valuable. So it was cool. But
That's a fun airport story.
Recognizing a client you've never met in person that you haven't talked to in like 2 years.
Yeah.
It's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Playbook of the Wealthy. If you want to follow us on audio platforms, we're everywhere you can find us. If you want to watch the video version of the show, we are on YouTube, Spotify, LinkedIn, and Instagram. If you want to look at us on a website, you can. playbookotw.com. And if you want to send a question and get features on the show, our email is hello@playbookotw.com. And until next time.
Toodles!
All opinions expressed by Dave Grant and Heather Townsend are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the views of their respective wealth management firms. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Nothing in this material constitutes a solicitation for the sale or purchase of any securities. Clients of Retirement Matters and Townsend Financial may maintain positions in the securities discussed in this podcast.